Colleen, it's Monday, February 24th, and my third thesis chapter is due today, and it's not done yet. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, because this is a break from writing. So I'm going to tell you about my thesis a bit. This was inevitable. If you didn't expect this, you haven't been paying attention. So you've been warned. I'm about to start being academic. The part of my thesis I'm working on is a case study of the case that's on its way to the Supreme Court right now, Hobby Lobby v. Sibelius. You've probably heard of it. It's been in the news. It actually gets to the Supreme Court this summer, and I'm really hoping it doesn't get a decision before my thesis is done. And this, children, is why you should not pick a hypercurrent event for your thesis topic. That's the word of wisdom for the day. So one of the questions this case is addressing is whether or not a for-profit corporation can have religious freedom. And on the surface, this seems like an idiotic question. So of course Hobby Lobby doesn't exercise religious freedom the same way a person does when she goes to church or prays or does an obviously religious thing that is not selling bad craft supplies. But actually, the entire way we have talked about religious freedom since the Enlightenment has led us up to this question. It's not just something conservatives made up to antagonize Obama. It's actually a consequence of the way we understand religious freedom. So that's pretty interesting, and I'm going to tell you about it. You've probably heard of John Locke. He's the big Enlightenment guy, really big on religious toleration, and how he explained religious toleration was he said that there's a private, inner sanctum of a person, of their belief, that the government can't touch, and that there's the outer public expression of that belief that the government can regulate. So for example, if you believe burning witches is the correct way to deal with witchcraft in your community, you can believe that, good for you. If you actually burn witches, the government is allowed to intervene. And that's basically how we've thought about religious freedom ever since. There's the private domain, where you can religion however you want, and the public domain, where you're subject to government regulation in the name of different interests like safety and security, things like that. The thing is, we're not really sure what the public and the private are, because religious people tend to not leave their religious self behind when they go into the public domain. So for example, religious schools, religious hospitals, religious charities, all in public, you can go to them, but we consider them private for legal purposes and give them exemptions to certain regulations because they're religious. At the same time, we do the same thing for some for-profit businesses. An Amish guy and his Amish friends running a business making cabinets are allowed to run that business according to religious principles. The courts have said so, and have said that that counts as religious freedom. So, if big hospitals count as private, because they're not making money, and they're religious, and if small businesses count as private, even though they are making money, because they're religious, it becomes kind of difficult, annoyingly difficult, to tell Hobby Lobby that they can't have religion because they're big and they make money. Because we've already moved that private line, and there's no real reasonable place to put it. So when we say for-profit companies shouldn't have religious beliefs, it's not because there's really solid legal reasoning behind it. It's because it's kind of the best we can do with this system we've come up with. And there are better ways to talk about it that if we used them would not have gotten us into this situation. But here we are. So hopefully the court decides that companies don't have religious freedom, because there are lots of reasons that's a bad idea, but they're going to have to deal with this whole public-private distinction when they eventually come to it. And it's going to be messy, and it should be interesting, and I hope they wait to do it until after I've turned in my thesis. I'm going to get back to writing. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye!